Greetings, Tubies. It's Crow again. I'm out here hiking today at Bridges to the Pass Trail, which is right at the head of the old Louisville Nashville Turnpike, a stagecoach line that was built in 1837. So it was the main way in and out of here for a couple decades. It was used longer than that, but it was the only method of really getting from Nashville to Louisville directly and to Camp Knox back in the day, before any of the highways came through, any of the roads that progressively got turned into highways. So I'm out here hiking today because, hell, it's one of the only trails in the area that's actually open right now. I went to a couple of my regular trails and they're closed temporarily, so I'm out here hiking this trail. I've never been all the way up it, so I don't really know what to expect, but check out these icicles. There's icicles all the way up and down the face of this rock here. Not sure how good the camera's going to come in on them. Try to get a little close up here real quick. Just to give you an idea what size these are. You know, here's my hand on one of them. Here's my, yeah, I got a murder weapon. You know, this is completely off topic, but I realized when I was a kid, I really wanted to hurt somebody. It was wintertime. I got to thinking about it. What's the only natural weapon on the planet during wintertime that you could stab somebody with, stab them in the eyeball, puncture their brain, and your murder weapon melt away, leaving no evidence, no fingerprints, no witnesses, no nothing? An icicle. So just remember that. Another good way to murder somebody and have no evidence is take you a knife and spray it with water and put it in the freezer, and continually spray it on both sides until you have ice built up around the blade and the handle. And you want to put extra on the blade, because when you stab them and the forensics go back, the cut wound will not match your blade. Plus your fingerprints will be gone. You could just toss that knife in the river. Not that I'd ever murder anyone. And if I did, I'd probably use a 12-gauge shotgun. Pretty hard to trace too. And you can also dump that in the river. So anyway, I'm out here hiking on this trail, dead of winter. It's gorgeous out here. Don't get to do too many winter hikes, so I'm pretty happy about this one. I'm going to finally take this trail to the end, which I've been wanting to do. Been saying I was going to make a video of it for a while now. Just never got around to it. I'm wearing a couple layers. You can probably see one of my hoods poking through this gray hood here. I've got a pretty warm jacket on underneath this coat. Got a long sleeve shirt with a long sleeve thermal under that. Got a pair of jeans on, a pair of pajama pants under them, a pair of boxers under that. And then I've got a pair of long socks with a pair of thermal socks on top of that. So I'm all layered up, ready for the cold. Can't see very well because my breath keeps fogging up my glasses. But yeah, Bridges to the Past is right next to Tioga Falls Trail. It looks like it cuts around in the opposite direction. Tioga Trail passes over the railroad tracks. This trail passed under the railroad tracks, swerves off to the left, whereas Tioga Falls swerves off to the right. We're approaching one of the first bridges. I've already crossed one. This will be the second bridge I'm passing. I'm not sure how many bridges are out here that were built by the POWs. I know there's at least one that was completely built by POWs and POWs alone. But if my memory serves me right, there's also some construction that was done out here by American GIs. So, aside from the trail, I thought that I'd go ahead and make a video talking about food sources for the wintertime. The turnpike crosses the east fork of Tioga Creek on the first of 3 limestone arch bridges that are over 150 years old. So, I'm not sure. This would be Bridge BDG, okay, that's short for Bridge 44. So Bridge BDG number 44. Looks like there's stairs going down here. However, the trail is covered in snow, so I can't really tell. Oh yeah, beautiful. Beautiful bridge. I'm trying to get down here without busting my ass. So yeah, that's gorgeous. Nice little bridge. Nice little archway. Nice little shallow water here that somebody could come and sit in and cool off in the summertime, or possibly even take a bath. Trying to get a good shot of that bridge, but it's hard to tell with this camera. I've got it on the front-facing camera right now, so that it's looking at me. I can see myself on the screen. That way I can keep myself on the screen. So, bridge number 1. It's like a little graffiti has been put on these walls and has faded off. So I'd say that it's been there for quite some time. Yeah, pretty little bridge. So I'm standing under the bridge right now, looking at this stonework, touching this old stonework, and realizing this has been here for 150 years. And was built by POWs. Or rebuilt by POWs, I believe. I'm going to sneak around the ledge here. Try not to fall. So that was bridge number 1. Bridges of the past. 150-year-old archway bridges. Apparently there's 3 of them. I think I already knew that, but I forgot. So this is actually one hike that I'm not completely familiar with. So it's pretty lovely getting to be out here. I'm just dying to follow that creek. I have a thing for following creeks. Artifacts and creeks go hand in hand. Water used to be the main roads. Creeks, rivers, they used to be the highways of this country. If you can follow a river, you can bet Native Americans have been down it, all along the shoreline, and you can bet that the shoreline was dotted with villages and private dwellings. So great places to look for artifacts. I don't know how well this camera shows, if you can see all the way up to the top of the ridge there. There's some rocky knobs up there. Beautiful. Beautiful day out here. Snow falling. Feels great. All these layers got me warm. The only part of me that's cold, just a little bit right here. And it's barely cold at that. I have to keep pulling my face mask down because it's actually too warm. So here's a little shot of the stream that I'm walking along. Pretty little stream, real pretty little stream. So back to what I was getting ready to say. This video is also meant to be talking about winter food sources, specifically hunting. Hunting was something for centuries and centuries that mainly went on during the wintertime, the fall and the winter. When the sun went away, the days became shorter, and then the sun came back and was reborn towards the end of December, which is where we get midwinter, Yule, and Christmas from. During that time, natives from all continents, not just America, would do their heaviest hunting. The springtime was mainly for sowing crops and preparing. The summertime was for farming and gardening and collecting. And the fall was for harvesting and collecting. So that didn't leave much time for hunting. And even if it had, the food would either be eaten or spoiled by the time the long winter months came around. So during the winter months, let's say here in America, for example, what the natives would do is they would disperse the village when winter set in. And what I mean by that is, like I just said, the spring, the summer, and the fall were taken for planting, growing, gathering, harvesting, and things along those lines. So when the wintertime came, the village would actually disband until spring, and each family would go up into the hills, go up into the mountains. I'm talking about here regionally. So this would be the Appalachian tribe, the Cherokee, maybe the Cree before they were moved further north, the Pawnee, Shawnee, whoever was in these foothills and who was ever in the ridges. They would leave their villages and they would go up to single family dwellings where they would have a wigwam or a teepee or some sort of home up on the side of the mountain or on a mountaintop, and the region around that for anywhere from a couple of miles up to 10 or 15 miles even, depending on how large of a village it was and how large the family was. All of that land would be their territory for hunting. So any beaver, any deer, any rabbit, any animal that could be hunted was strictly that family's. Now, before the village dispersed, they would divvy up their berries and their nuts and their crops. They would divvy it evenly between families, and then the families would set off to their winter homes to fend for themselves. And the food would go further that way because they only had their own mouths to feed, and it was easier to hunt because, again, they only had their own mouths to feed. Whereas if the village didn't disperse, maybe only one or two people would go out hunting and they wouldn't have enough food to last the winter. But by dispersing the village and each family being forced to fend for themselves, basically, that drove all men to be hunters and to practice hunting so that they could provide for their family through the winter. And it made it easier on the entire village because it's much easier to take care of one or two or three or four mouths, or even 5 or 10 mouths, than it is 100 or 200 or 300 mouths or thousands of mouths. So hunting in the wintertime has its pros and cons. Sure, certain animals were hibernating, but that also made it easy to get into their caves and dens and basically take them out without a fight, especially bear. I'm sure several bears were killed each winter because, hell, that would be enough to feed your family. And you'd have a bear skin, teeth and claws for necklaces, and bragging rights. But the animals that didn't hibernate, the animals that still had to survive, were still out running around and therefore leaving tracks, coming to and from their homes, to and from their dens, to and from their food sources. And that made it very, very easy for someone to go out, find their tracks, find a good spot along their trail, and set snares. As well as far as deer, you're not really going to set snares for deer. You can set kill snares, like spear points that are rigged on triggers, but they're messy, and if a human being accidentally comes along, it'll mortally wound or kill them as well, just as easily as a deer. So with deer, they stuck to hunting by hand, but in the wintertime it was so much easier. There was less guesswork. You could see their prints, tell how big they were, tell about how much they weighed, and exactly where it is that they were coming from and exactly where it is they were going. Made it pretty easy for you to be waiting when they came through with an arrow notched. Same thing with little rabbit feet in the snow. Made it really easy for you to set a snare right in their path, and you knew you were going to catch one. It was just a matter of time. So here we are going around this curve. They've got a split rail fence across it, and I thought maybe there was another bridge here that I was missing. That's a really pretty little spot down there. It looks like a little pool there where that little tiny waterfall is flowing to, and I guarantee you that in the spring or summer it'd be just a lovely place to sit and cool down. So that's really what I wanted to talk about, other than pine trees and the food that you'd already gathered and grown and harvested. Hunting was the winter food source. And if you were a good hunter, that's really all you needed. You probably already had nuts. You probably already had meal made out of nuts or some other type of plant, Indian wheat or something like that. So you had enough meal made for bread, and you had enough dried berries and smoked fish and things like that to supplement. But you needed to go out and catch a few rabbits a week and catch something bigger, kill something bigger here and there, like a bear or a deer or an antelope. Alright, bridge number 45. This one looks like it'd be a little bit harder to get down to. This is pretty though. You can see the old stonework and how damn ancient it looks by the dark colorations on it and the amount of moss, and the fact that that moss is brown and not green lets you know that it's pretty old. And we know it's 150 years old. Pretty little walk out here. It's not quite what I expected for bridges through the past. I expected this road to eventually lead to a foot trail, but now it makes perfect sense as to why this trail is still open and the others weren't. This is basically a paved road all the way out here. And it well should be it was part of the stagecoach route. So I should have known that it wasn't going to be a foot trail. Now here is a foot trail leading off of the path. I'm going to take it, even though I ought to know better. I don't want to slip and fall, but curiosity killed the cat, or so they say. Beautiful. Beautiful little bridge. So we'll see if we can work our way across here without killing ourselves. The water is down low, so I'm able to pick my way across these rocks pretty easily. I'm just taking my time and doing it slow so that I don't fall and break a hip or something, you know, and be out here stuck. Another lovely little pool here, and I really like pools like this because they're solid rock and the bottom of them are solid rock, and there's solid rock to sit on the sides. I really like finding pools like this versus pools that are made up all of like that pebbly stuff you see over there under the water, because that can work against you if you're in a pool trying to bathe or just rinse something off. There's a lot more sediment floating around. Even if you're just swimming around and walking through it, you're gonna raise up so much sediment that your trail is gonna get cloudy through the water. You're gonna make your water muddy, basically. And who wants to swim in muddy water when you can swim in crystal clear water and see to the very bottom? Especially in creeks like that have rock overhangs and stuff like that. If you're out in the spring or the summertime, you want to try to find a pool like that because you can see to the bottom, and therefore, you know, you're less likely to get into a nest of snakes, or even a single snake. A single water moccasin can do you in. Well, that's the third bridge. The trail just keeps on going. I've been hiking down about 25 minutes now. I think I'll go up around this curve, see how far it keeps going, and probably turn around. But I'm going to go ahead and cut this video off. I went ahead and made a longer one because I knew it would probably be the only video that I made today, due to all the trails being closed and there not really being any land around here that you can use recreationally, because it's all owned by the government. It's all owned by Fort Knox and the Army. So it's all off limits other than where it's marked. So I may go out to my one other place that I have other than these local trails and stuff. I have one piece of property that I like going out on, and I've actually been wanting to make some winter videos there for a couple of years. Yeah, this trail just keeps on going, so I'm going to turn around and I'm going to make it back the other way and hop up in the vehicle and get home and upload this video. So again, if you're watching my channel, if you're regularly watching my videos, or maybe this is the first one you've seen, my name is Crow, and I'm documenting my adventures in the great outdoors, as well as sharing what little knowledge and experience I have of surviving and being one with nature. So please like and subscribe my videos. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you continue to check out my channel as I continue to update it. Till we meet again, peace.